Today, we're gonna do a full body foam rolling routine. It's something that you can do on a day when you feel like you just need to rest and recover your muscles. You're a little sore or a lot sore, and you just feel like you need some extra blood flow. So the foam roller is great for that. We're gonna get started, and first of all, we're gonna work on our upper backs. So we tend to develop a lot of closed chests just from how we work or sit or carry children. So we're gonna open up our chest to start. So you're gonna take your foam roller back behind you and place it about mid back. So you don't wanna place it too low on your spine. You want your rib cage to be supported here. You're gonna keep your hips heavy, and then you're gonna take your hands behind your head, lift the hips up now, using the abs just a little bit. It's more restorative than anything. And you're just gonna slowly roll and extend over the roller. And then you can nod your head to the right and flex to the left and back to center. Roll it up, curl it forward, and then extend over the roller. And just spend any extra time where you feel any knots or any tension behind the shoulder blades. Good, and curl, and then slowly open it up over the roller. Now let the elbows come wide, really open up those elbows here. Press the feet into the mat. You can let your bum drop towards your mat if you want, just to make it more comfortable. And then flex to the left, flex to the right, and then roll it up. Good, now we're gonna work the lats a little bit here. So you're gonna come onto your side, and this one can be a little painful, so you need to be careful. If it's too much pressure, you can adjust the amount of pressure. You never wanna be in pain when you're foam rolling. So we're just gonna roll onto our side right near our armpit. So you're gonna roll, and then when you find a spot with a little extra tension, like right here, right behind, you're gonna move, adjust yourself. So I'm rolling forward a little. Once you find that spot that feels tighter than the other spots, you can kind of roll to the left and the right to loosen that up. Roll back up, larger range of motion here, and back down. Whew, this is a tight one. Then you'll find a new spot and you roll on that. Good, and when you're done there, we're gonna switch sides. So I'm on my side, right underneath the armpit here, and roll down, find a place that you have some tension, roll to the right and slightly to the left. Find a new spot. Open it up and roll. This feels really good. And when you find that tight spot, you want to kind of breathe and sink into it. Don't shy away from it. Try and relax it, relax the muscle. It's like getting a massage without your massage therapist. None of us can get massages right now. All right, so now we're gonna work on the glutes. So I'm gonna sit on top of my roller. I'm seated. I'm gonna take my right leg, cross it over my left, and I'm gonna scoot towards the end of my roller now. And I'm gonna move a little bit to the side so that the pressure is really on my right glute. And I'm gonna roll slowly forwards and backwards. And you can hold your weight up a little bit more with that right hand if you want, or you can really sink into that glute. It's depending on how it feels that day. And I'm just gonna find any tight little knots in that space. And then once I'm on one of those knots, I'm gonna move myself and not the roller to the right and then to the left. And sometimes the roller won't get into those little spots as much, so you may need to use a small ball, like a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball. You can sit on those, or you can do it against a wall or a dresser, whatever you have available to you. Good. And just breathe into any knots. Really letting the tension drop from your body as you get into any of those little creaky spots. All right, we're going to change glutes. I'm going to take my left foot over my right, cross it, flex my left foot, and just roll more towards my glutes. So none of my tailbone at all here. Good. Just gonna roll nice and slow until you find a spot that has a little extra tension. Good. And once I find that spot, I get into it and I'm gonna roll to the right and to the left, going in the opposite direction of the muscle fibers, trying to break up some of those knots. And sometimes you won't find much there, and that's okay. Good, now we're gonna come off here. We're gonna work on our hamstrings a little. So going down the body. So from here, with your hamstrings, you can either prop yourself up on both hands, keeping both legs out nice and straight, or if you need a little extra tension, you're gonna cross one leg over the other. I'm gonna cross my left over the right. And you don't wanna roll past your knee joint. So you wanna kind of go right in the area of the hamstring. And when you find a tight spot, you're gonna also roll those legs to the left and to the right, just kind of working over some of those knots. Good. I find I usually have more on the inside, like towards my inner thigh, and we'll get to the inner thigh here in just a few minutes. Nice and slow. Again, you can do it where you don't have any extra tension on that right leg. Now I'm going to cross my right over my left, keeping open through the chest. And you kind of have to slow down to see if you can find any knots. Good. And this is a softer foam roller, so I do have my right leg crossed over my left. I have another roller that I probably wouldn't cross my leg over with. It's a little bit more dense, so it definitely depends on your foam roller as well. All right, now finally the calves. So it's getting harder and harder to hold yourself up, but you're gonna roll with the calves. There's always some nice tight spots here. Rolling back and forth, and you can cross one leg over the other. Whew. It's an easy place for tight spots to crop up. And then cross the right over the left. I'm going to sit down and readjust myself so I can bring my foam roller up higher. Good. All right, now we're going to do the inner thighs. So you're going to take your roller, place it out next to you, parallel, nice and long. You're going to take your right leg over the roller and prop yourself up on your forearms. So you're in a little bit of a frog position here. And you're going to slowly and carefully, I'm supporting myself with my other foot and leg. There are usually some good tight spots here in these adductors. And slowly roll. Nice and slow. I usually find a lot of tension right near my knee, so I really have to be careful how much pressure I let the foam roller, even with a soft foam roller. So it's right where those adductors insert into the inside of your knee. Whew, it gets tight. If you find any tight spots, just hold and make the motion a little smaller. So roll back and forth, but keep it small. Good, and we're gonna switch legs. So over to the left, stretch. So I'm supporting myself with my right knee and right foot, Nice, slow and controlled. If you find any knots or places that are more tense, stop for a moment and sink into that. Good. All right, we're gonna come out of this one. I'm gonna take that roller now perpendicular to the mat. And we're gonna lay over top. I'm gonna place it underneath my hamstrings here, roll it back, and then place it underneath my sacrum. So I'm gonna take my right leg towards my chest, stretch the left leg long. You should get a really good psoas release here. So your big hip flexor. So mine's tight. Notice my foot doesn't want to drop all the way to the ground. I'm just gonna sit here for a minute. Breathe into that stretch. And let my left hip flexor open up here. So the roller is right at about where my SI joints are, right below your low back, right where your low back meets your pelvis. Just hold and breathe. Notice my foot is closer to the ground. My hip flexor is opening up here. And then I'm gonna pull my left knee toward my chest, recenter the roller, and stretch the right leg long. Good. Just let that hip flexor really open up. This one's a little less tight. My left side's my tighter hip flexor. It's my dominant leg. Just breathe into it here. It should feel good. So then you're gonna bring that knee in towards your chest, roll up off of the foam roller, sit it up. And now we're gonna take the foam roller lengthwise and lay on it. So we're gonna sit on the one end and let our spine go all the way down. Foam roller. Let your head find the roller here and just relax. So keep your feet grounded and just lay. Now open the arms. We're opening through the chest. Really open through the arms. You're at a T. And just take some deep breaths. Let your spine sink into the foam roller. You should be able to get the tactile feedback of the roller on your vertebrae. I'm going to take the arms a little higher and open through the chest. I've got a nice soft bend in my elbows. And I'm going to take my arms up overhead and then back out, opening through those chest muscles. Keeping my back imprinted on the roller. Nice deep inhales and exhale. Now here you can roll like you're gonna roll off to the left or roll off to the right. Good. Feeling some of those tight muscles underneath your shoulder blades. It's a really good stretch to do if you get knots behind your shoulder blades. Most of us do from working or driving or carrying kids. Good. All right, you're gonna take those arms overhead, really plug those shoulders in. And we're just gonna circle the arms. So down, almost touching the ground, overhead, and up. Keeping that imprint of your spine on the roller. Overhead, and up, and now reverse it. Overhead, down, in, and up. So this will work on some of those knots underneath your shoulder blade. I can really feel one of mine against the foam roller. My right shoulder. Good. And then just open that chest one more time. Hold it here. Big, deep inhale. And exhale all the air out. Then we're going to roll off of our foam roller. And let's stretch our quads. So one last rolling exercise. You're going to take the roller perpendicular to the mat again, come onto your quadriceps. Now, here again, you can either keep the legs separated for less pressure, or you can wrap one of the legs over the other to get a little bit deeper. And here I usually have tension right where my quad inserts into my knee. It gets tight from cycling. So when I get there, I kind of find that knot or that tight spot, and then I roll to the right slightly and to the left, going in the opposite direction of the muscle fibers to really loosen that up. Good. And then the other tight spot that I can find is right up where it inserts, my quadricep inserts into my hip. So I roll open here and then close. It feels so good. If you have tight hips at all, this is a really good one to do. And notice I've uncrossed my legs. I need a little less tension here. It's enough just to be by itself. So if I roll open, I can really find a tight spot right below the ASIS. Good. I'm going to switch sides. So I'm going to wrap my right leg now over my left and roll. Whew, I needed this. Good. I'm going to find that spot up by my hip here. Right below that, your hip point or your ASIS, and roll on, and then roll almost where all those little tiny muscle stabilizing, hip stabilizing muscles insert. Opening and closing. It should feel really good when you find a tight spot. Just melt into it for a second. Resist the urge to get away from that discomfort. Good. All right. So I'm going to come up. So that was a good full body rolling routine. We hit most of the major muscle groups and most of the areas that get pretty tight from our everyday activities or from working out. You can always spend extra time on areas that are extra tight for you. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward for you to join us in more stretch and release videos. Have a great day.